about Donald Trump because you guys both hosted The Apprentice. You don't necessarily see eye to eye on most things.
And all that, but it is kind of like a threat to democracy and a threat of what happens to people when they're lied to.
Remember when Arnold was just the Terminator? Well, now he's terminating Trump's ego. The ex-governor just dropped a video roast so hot, it's making the internet melt. Seriously, who would have thought Schwarzenegger had such sick burns? It's like watching Conan the Barbarian wield a Twitter sword. Stick around to see how Arnold went from "I'll be back" to "Trump, you'll be gone."
Well, we've had some disasters, but this is the worst. Your whole personality is like out of control.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Well, folks, it looks like our favorite orange turd is at it again. Grumpy Trumpy's been busy on Twitter, spewing his usual word vomit all over the internet. This time, he's managed to outdo himself, tweeting a storm so ridiculous it's making even his most loyal followers scratch their heads. So what's got Donnie Diapers all worked up this time? Who knows? It could be anything from a mean TV show to someone forgetting to put extra ketchup on his well-done steak. But whatever it is, Trump's tiny fingers were working overtime, hammering out tweet after tweet of pure nonsense. As soon as the first tweet hit, it spread faster than a juicy piece of gossip at a high school reunion. You know, the kind where everyone finds out the prom queen is now selling essential oils on Facebook. Twitter users were refreshing their feeds like they were waiting for lottery numbers, wondering what crazy thing Trump would say next. Meanwhile, poor political analysts were trying to decipher Trump's word salad like it was some kind of ancient hieroglyphics. What could he possibly mean by kafef? They asked, squinting at their screens and reaching for more coffee. It's like trying to understand what your drunk uncle is saying at Thanksgiving dinner, except this drunk uncle has access to nuclear codes. As Trump's tweet storm raged on, Twitter users started placing bets on who'd be the first celeb to clap back. Would it be Chrissy Teigen with her signature sass? Maybe Jimmy Kimmel with a zinger that would make Trump's spray tan melt off? The tension was building higher than Trump's tower of lies. Everyone was waiting for a hero to emerge from the Twitterverse. Someone brave enough to stand up to the presidential potty mouth. Someone with the muscles to punch through Trump's ego and the accent to make "you're fired" sound like a compliment. And then, just when we thought all hope was lost, a familiar voice echoed through the digital landscape. "I'll be back," it seemed to say, but this time it wasn't coming from a futuristic killing machine. No, this time it was coming from Arnold Schwarzenegger? That's right, folks. The Terminator himself decided it was time to terminate Trump's Twitter tantrum. The Austrian oak was ready to chop down Trump's tweet tree, and boy, did he come prepared with some serious truth bombs.
President Trump is a failed leader. He will go down in history as the worst president ever.
But what could Trump have possibly said to make Arnie so mad? What line did the Orange Menace cross that made the governor say "hasta la vista, baby" to staying out of politics? Well, buckle up, Buttercup, because we're about to find out. So, what could possibly make the Terminator terminate his silence? Well, it turns out our favorite Austrian oak has been holding on to a secret grudge hotter than a fresh plate of schnitzel. Turns out these muscle heads have more history than a high school textbook, and it's finally boiling over like Trump's Diet Coke-fueled rage.
And we were losing them because we were not addressing those issues. So I was telling them, I said, look, the way you're going, being so anti, healthcare reform.
Now, we all know Arnold's been in the political game before. He was the governor of California, after all. But lately, he's been as quiet as Trump is loud. That is, until our orange friend decided to poke the bear, or should we say, the barbarian. Picture this, Arnold sitting in his home office, probably surrounded by more movie props than the Warner Brothers' studio lot. He's minding his own business, maybe polishing his Mr. Universe trophies or doing bicep curls with his pet donkey, because why not? When suddenly his phone blows up, Trump's latest tweet storm has hit, and it's a Category 5 hurricane of nonsense. At first, Arnold tries to ignore it. He's above this, right? He's Arnold freaking Schwarzenegger. He's dealt with predators, terminators, and kindergarten cops. Surely he can handle a few tweets from a guy with hair that looks like cotton candy made of shame. But then, something catches his eye. Maybe it was a jab at climate change, or perhaps a dig at immigrants. Whatever it was the straw that broke the Conan's back. Arnold's fingers start hovering over his phone, itching to type faster than he used to punch bad guys in his movies. His team of advisors huddle around, offering suggestions like cornermen in a boxing match. Maybe we should take the high road, one suggests. How about we ignore him, pipes up another. But Arnold? He's not having any of it. He dismisses their ideas quicker than Trump fires cabinet members. The anticipation builds as Arnold finally hits record on his camera. You can almost hear the dramatic music swelling in the background. This is it, folks. The moment we've all been waiting for. The kindergarten cop is about to school the President of the United States. And boy, does he deliver. Arnold drops a verbal smackdown that would make even the Predator wince. It's like watching Conan the Barbarian wield a Twitter sword, slicing through Trump's ego with the precision of a surgeon and the force of a bodybuilder.
About Donald Trump, because you guys both hosted The Apprentice. You don't necessarily see eye to eye on most things.
He starts off slow, building up like the tension in one of his action movies. Then bam, he hits Trump with facts harder than he hit bad guys in True Lies. He calls out the president's policies, his behavior, his hair. Nothing is off limits. It's like watching a political roast, except the guy doing the roasting could probably bench press the entire White House.
And all that, but it is kind of like a threat to democracy and a threat of what happens to people when they're lied to.
By the end of the video, you half expect Arnold to drop the mic and walk away in slow motion as explosions go off behind him. It's that epic. Trump's left, looking like Hans and Franz after Arnold got done with them, deflated and irrelevant. Well, folks, it looks like Arnold just dropped a verbal atomic bomb on Trump's ego, and the fallout is spreading faster than you can say, "I'll be back." Our favorite Austrian oak didn't just criticize the Donald, he absolutely demolished him with a series of zingers that would make even the toughest action hero wince. Let's break down this epic takedown, shall we? Arnold starts off with a bang, calling Trump's leadership skills about as strong as the flimsy walls of your bankrupt casinos. Ouch, that one's gotta hurt more than a Predator plasma blast to the chest. But Arnie was just warming up, folks. Next, he goes after Trump's infamous hair, saying it looks like a corn husk that's been through a wood chipper. The internet collectively gasped and then burst into laughter. Meme makers were working overtime, turning that gem into an instant classic faster than you can say, "You're fired." But the Governator wasn't done yet. He took aim at Trump's Twitter habits, quipping that the only thing you terminate more often than your marriages is your staff members. Double whammy. Arnold's hitting Trump where it hurts, his ego and his precious social media addiction.
The good thing is that he soon will be as irrelevant as an old tweet.
As the video spread like wildfire, people were glued to their screens, wondering what Arnold would say next. It was like watching a political roast, except the guy doing the roasting could probably bench press the entire Republican Party. Arnold saved his best material for last, though. He wrapped up his verbal smackdown by saying, "I've seen scarier things in Kindergarten Cop than in your White House, Donald. And trust me, it's not a tumor. It's just your presidency." Mic drop. You could almost hear the collective "ooh" echoing across the internet.
They hired a big movie star, Arnold Schwarzenegger, to take my place. And we know how that turned out.
As the dust settled, the internet exploded with reactions. Twitter users were retweeting Arnold's video faster than Trump could hit the block button. Even celebrities who usually stay out of politics were jumping on the bandwagon, praising Arnold for standing up to the tweeter-in-chief. Political analysts were having a field day, breaking down each of Arnold's zingers like they were analyzing battlefield tactics. "This isn't just a clapback," one pundit said. "It's a full-on declaration of war against Trump's ego." But here's the kicker, folks. While most people think this is just two rich guys slinging mud for attention, there's actually a deeper issue at stake. The real shock? This isn't about them at all. It's about us and how we react to their shenanigans. Are we gonna keep falling for these celebrity showdowns, or are we gonna demand some actual governing? It's like we're all stuck in some weird reality TV show where the fate of the country is decided by who can come up with the best insults.
Oh, I have a great idea. Why don't we switch jobs? You take over TV because you're such an expert in ratings.
Holy moly, folks. Arnold's video just hit the internet like a California earthquake, and everyone's feeling the aftershocks. It's spreading faster than rumors at a high school reunion, and let me tell you, it's way more entertaining than watching paint dry on Trump's border wall. As soon as that clip dropped, social media went bonkers. Twitter users were mashing that retweet button like it was a game of whack-a-mole, their thumbs moving faster than Trump's toupee in a hurricane. Facebook became a war zone of heated debates and Arnold appreciation posts. It was like watching your uncle and your college roommate duke it out in the comments section, except this time everyone's cheering for the same muscular hero. Instagram influencers, not wanting to miss out on the action, started pumping out reaction videos faster than Trump pumps out tweets after watching Fox News. They were all hoping to catch some of that sweet, sweet engagement. It's like they suddenly remembered Arnold exists and collectively shouted, "Get to the chopper." But instead of a chopper, they meant the post button.
I mean, people really are starving for something positive. There's just so much on social media and online out there that is negative.
The view count on Arnold's video started climbing higher than Trump's ego. People were glued to their screens, hitting refresh like it was going out of style. It was as if the entire internet collectively decided, forget cat videos, this is the content we've been waiting for.
We all know that the way he is, and if it makes him feel good to, tell everyone he weighs 215, I think everyone laughs about it.
But here's where it gets really wild. While we were all busy laughing at Arnold's zingers, something bigger was brewing. Mainstream media caught a whiff of this viral sensation, and boy, did they pounce on it like a lion on a particularly juicy zebra. Suddenly, Arnold's face was plastered all over the news. CNN, MSNBC, even Fox News couldn't ignore it. It was like watching a group of old people discover TikTok. They didn't quite get it, but they knew it was important. As the story grew, so did the reactions. Celebrities who usually stay quiet about politics were suddenly finding their voices. It was like Arnold had given them all permission to speak up. Even other politicians were jumping on the bandwagon, praising Arnold for his boldness. Who would have thought that the guy who once said it's not a tumor would become the voice of reason in American politics? The video broke records faster than Arnold broke box office numbers in the 90s. It became the most shared political clip of the year, leaving other viral sensations in the dust. Move over, dancing politicians and auto-tuned news anchors. There's a new sheriff in town and he's got an Austrian accent. So why are people calling Arnold a hero after this?
The only thing is that we don't have to go under completely. We don't have to wait for that moment. Let's change.
Well, it's not just because he can bench press a small car or terminate evil robots from the future. It's because he stood up to the big bad orange wolf when others were too scared to do it. He said what many were thinking but didn't have the guts or the muscles to say out loud. In a world where politicians often speak in riddles and doublespeak, Arnold came out swinging with the bluntness of a sledgehammer.
Well, first of all, you have to understand, when I improvise a speech, I don't think about how I say something or what I say.
Well, well, well. Looks like Trump's finally met his match, and it's not a Democrat or a journalist, it's the Terminator himself. After Arnold's video hit the internet harder than a Schwarzenegger punch, everyone's been waiting to see how our favorite orange turd would respond. And boy, did he not disappoint in disappointing us all. Picture this. Trump, probably surrounded by half-eaten Big Macs and Diet Coke cans, furiously tapping away at his phone like a toddler playing whack-a-mole. His first attempt at a comeback? About as weak as a wet noodle. He tried calling Arnold a failed governor and a movie star has been. Really, Donnie? That's the best you've got? It's like watching a Chihuahua try to take on a German Shepherd. As Trump's advisors frantically tried to wrestle the phone away from their boss. Probably easier said than done, given how tiny his hands are. Late-night hosts were having a field day. Jimmy Kimmel quipped, Trump's comebacks are weaker than his hairspray on a windy day. Even the usually mild-mannered Stephen Colbert couldn't resist, joking that Trump's response was so pathetic, it made Jeb Bush look like a trash-talking champion.
I think that's the past. And I think that we have to march into the future.
Meanwhile, Trump's supporters were waiting with bated breath for a zinger that never came. It was like watching paint dry, except the paint was orange and kept tweeting nonsense. As the pressure mounted, Trump's tweets became increasingly incoherent. It was like he was playing some twisted game of political Mad Libs. Arnold is a loser and a bad hombre who couldn't even kafefe properly. What? The more Trump tweeted, the more he dug himself into a hole deeper than his spray tan. Each poorly worded insult only made Arnold look better by comparison. It was like watching a masterclass in how not to handle criticism. Trump's fumbling response became a laughing stock faster than you can say, "You're fired." But here's the kicker, folks. While Trump was busy making a fool of himself, something interesting was happening behind the scenes. Word on the street is that some big-name Republicans are sweating more than Trump in a tanning bed. Turns out, Arnold's words hit a little too close to home for comfort. These GOP bigwigs are huddled in back rooms, probably panic-eating caviar and plotting their next move. They're realizing that if Arnold can make Trump look like a fool, maybe their golden boy isn't so untouchable after all. It's like watching a group of rats decide whether to jump ship or go down with the SS Trump. As Trump licks his wounds and probably orders another bucket of KFC to soothe his bruised ego, more and more people are jumping on the Arnold bandwagon. Celebrities who usually stay quiet about politics are suddenly finding their voices. Even other politicians are praising Arnold for his boldness. It's like the governor gave everyone permission to finally say what they've been thinking all along. So what's next in this political soap opera? Will Trump finally come up with a decent comeback? Spoiler alert, probably not. Will more Republicans grow a spine and stand up to the tweeter-in-chief, or will Arnold's words fade away like so many other Trump scandals?
Ratings went right down the tubes. It's been a total disaster. And Mark will never, ever bet against Trump again.
Looks like Arnold's gone and done it now, folks. He's not just the Terminator anymore. He's the Trumpinator. And boy, is he gathering an army faster than you can say, "I'll be back." Remember when celebrities used to just smile and wave? Well, those days are as dead as Trump's natural hair color. Arnold's video has opened the floodgates, and now every star with a Twitter account is jumping on the bandwagon. It's like watching a bunch of kindergartners follow the cool kid on the playground, except this time the cool kid is a 70-something-year-old Austrian with biceps bigger than Trump's ego.
That if you would ask me what should you do for fitness, I would just say run around yourself 3 times. You're going to be in great shape.
First up, we've got George Takei, boldly going where many have gone before, but with way more sass. He tweeted, "Arnold just proved he can govern California and terminate Trump's nonsense. Oh my." Then there's Mark Hamill, using the force of his wit to join the fray. The Governator versus the Tweeter-in-Chief? Now that's a movie I'd watch. But it's not just the Hollywood crowd getting in on the action. Some political bigwigs are starting to grow spines. Must be something in the water in DC. Even a few Republicans are breaking ranks, probably realizing that hitching their wagon to Trump's star is about as smart as trying to arm wrestle Arnold. Mitt Romney, always the rebel of the Republican Party, and we use that term loosely, praised Arnold's courage and clarity. It's like watching the nerd stand up to the school bully. You're not sure if you should cheer or hide under your desk. Even some of Trump's former allies are starting to waver. Michael Cohen, Trump's ex-lawyer and current thorn in his side, tweeted, "Arnold's words hit harder than any legal brief. Maybe it's time for Donald to say, 'Hasta la vista, baby,' to politics." Ouch. That's gotta sting more than a spray tan gone wrong. As Arnold's army grows, Trump's looking more and more like a lone wolf. If wolves were orange and had really bad comb-overs, his usual yes men are suddenly developing laryngitis when it comes to defending him. It's like watching a game of musical chairs, except everyone's fighting not to have a seat at Trump's table. But here's the kicker, folks. While everyone's busy picking sides in this celebrity death match, something bigger is brewing. This isn't just about Arnold versus Trump anymore. It's about the future of political discourse in America. Are we really at a point where it takes a guy famous for saying, "I'll be back," to make politicians grow a backbone? The real shock? This spat might just be the beginning of a full-on Republican civil war. Yep, you heard it here first. Word on the street is that some top Republicans are plotting in dark corners, probably over fancy steaks and overpriced whiskey, trying to figure out how to ditch the Donald without losing his rabid fan base. It's like watching a group of mice trying to bell the world's angriest, orangest cat. As the dust settles, Arnold's standing tall as an unexpected voice of reason in American politics. Who would have thought that the guy who once fought a predator would end up being the one to call out the real predator in the White House? Well, folks, it looks like the Terminator just terminated Trump's ego. Arnold's takedown wasn't just a viral moment. It was a reminder that sometimes the biggest biceps come with the biggest hearts. Who would have thought that the guy famous for saying, "I'll be back," would be the one to tell Trump to get lost? Next time Donnie Diapers decides to pick a Twitter fight, he might want to think twice about messing with the Governator. In the battle of words between the Apprentice host and the action hero, it's clear who won't be back in the White House. But hey, if you're itching for more political smackdowns, stay tuned for our next video where we'll show you how Michelle Obama delivered a knockout blow to Trump. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.